Mambo Italiano, hey mambo. Mambo Italiano, go, go, Joe. Shake it like a Giovanna. Hello, kiss it, did you get happy in the pizza when you Mambo Italiano?
Hi, look, my name's Jack, and I'm sort of interested in doing a bit of Italian. Is it possible, can you tell me what actually goes on? And I've never done Italian before, and I can only speak Australian. Anyway, I'm Jack, and your name is?
Yeah, okay, Jack. Diana. I'm Diana, and I'm teaching the Italian Beginners course in our forthcoming program. Okay, you're wondering about taking on a language, and is it you've ever done a language before?
No, I haven't. I can only speak, well, English with an Australian accent.
Right, so you didn't do, say, French, a couple of years of French or Latin or something way back in high school years ago?
I started doing French, but they kicked me out of the class.
Oh, okay.
Because my accent was so awful.
Oh, okay. Well, I promise you we won't be kicking you out of any classes at the U3A. We don't kick people out.
Well, look, I'm 69 years old. Is that a bit old to be starting a language?
No, not at all. In fact, you would be younger than many of the students that I've had in my Italian classes over the last couple of years. So don't worry about that. The only reason I was actually asking about whether you had done another language at any point is because if you've already studied a language, even if it was, 50 years ago in high school, it does make it a little bit, not so much easier, but at least you know what to expect. But that's okay, it's not necessary at all.
Do I have to know much about grammar? Like, do I have to understand English grammar?
No, that also helps, but you know what I find, Jack, with the age of the students that we have here at the U3A, most of them, because of when they did their schooling, most of them have a wonderful grasp of grammar. They don't realise, they don't think they do.
Oh, so it's intuitive.
It is. It's because of the way you were probably taught English compared to maybe in more recent times. And I often ask the students, I sort of say to them, now hang on, is this like today, when I was teaching, I said, is this a cardinal number or an ordinal number? And half the class knew, they knew because I was sort of 1 first, 2 second. I was trying to teach the different ones.
You have to be Roman Catholic, though.
Wasn't that sort of cardinal.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. No, look, I say to students, it's a beginner's class, so it doesn't assume any knowledge at all. What I also find is that because our students have been living in Melbourne in particular, which has a very large Italian community, most people will have familiarity with some Italian words. They may not know it, but pizza and gelato and cafe and cappuccino and all the rest of it. Ciao, who doesn't know ciao? So already I find students are using Italian words without even realising it. But I also say, I usually say to students, now why have you chosen Italian? Because one of the great, I think, successes of learning another language is motivation and passion and love. That's really all I say. It doesn't matter if you've never learned another language, it doesn't matter if you're 85. The main thing is your motivation to learn it and the fact that if you feel passionate about the language. So why have you, I'm just interested, why beginners Italian and not beginners German or beginners Spanish?
Oh, because I'm actually planning a trip to Italy at the end of the year.
Oh, okay, that's great. That's a great motive to work towards.
I want to go to Como and Roma and Sicily, as long as it's safe to go there. But that's what I'd like to do, and I'd like to be able to speak to them. Will I be able to do that by the end of the course?
By the end of the course, let me put it this way. By the end of week 1, you will be able to go out of the class and say who you are, what your name is, what nationality you are. You'll be able to ask those same questions of someone that you meet. So the emphasis in my course is very much on conversation.
Oh, great.
It's on speaking. People say, oh, do we do much grammar? Well, obviously we have to do a bit of grammar, because unless you're familiar with basic grammatical structures, you're not able to understand what's being said to you, or put simple phrases and sentences together yourself. So yes, we do teach some grammar, but as a means of then using it in our spoken communication. So there is a lot of there's a lot of emphasis on speaking and talking, and I have the class working a lot of the time working in pairs and in small groups, doing small little dialogues together, and then we'll come back together as a class and we'll listen to each other, so that we're developing the listening skills as well as the speaking skills.
Do I need a textbook for this?
Yes. I do have a textbook. I've actually got one here.
Oh, okay.
This is the book that I've set for next year,
Yes.
Italianissimo.
Oh, okay.
This book, which I'm asking all the students to buy, it costs just under $40. So it's I'm a bit aware of the cost of textbooks, but we do get 2 years out of this book. So if you come to the class, you buy this book, it will do you over 2 years. There are CDs, audio CDs that go along with this book, but you don't need to buy those. They're optional. I have them. We'll be playing them a lot in class. We use them in a lot of our classroom listening and speaking activities. So that's purely optional if you want to pay the extra for the CDs. There's also a website that you can go into, run by the BBC, which has been put together as a complement to this book, and there's lots of materials that you can interact with on your computer. So it's well set out, and we're going to have a lot of fun working from this book.
Will it just be language, or will we be taking a look at Italian culture?
Sure. Well, we do that anyway, because as well as the textbook, I also use other supplementary materials. Students pay a small fee at the beginning of the year. I think this year they paid $3, and that covered photocopying for the whole year. So they're the sort of upfront costs for students in this course. And in the extra material that we hand out, there's songs, there's words to songs, there's pieces on places of historical interest in Italy, pieces about Italian culture and society and the family, the importance of food, etc., etc.
Oh, great.
Also included in this book as well, but it will be supplemented throughout the year with additional material.
If If I get some of these CDs and do some of the work at home, am I going to be able to contact you in between classes, or do I have to wait till the next class to check up on problems I've had?
I give my email address out at the beginning of class. I always ask the students if they're happy to go onto a distribution list, but that's entirely up to the students. But certainly I'm contactable. I've been teaching 3 years now here, and everyone's always been very happy to have a student email list. And there's quite a lot of emailing, sort of backwards and forwards between class. I ask people to contact me if they know they're not going to be at the next class, and then I can tell them what we're going to go on with. And that's another reason why it's good to have a textbook, because if you know you're going to be on holidays for 4 weeks, or away, if you for whatever reason, I can say to you, we'll be covering in that time, pages 25 to 30, so work your way through it. It's designed actually, this book is also designed for independent study as well as, it's being written in such a way that if you just wanted to work your way through it at home you could. So it's another good reason I think to have a textbook, because I find that sometimes in Melbourne's winter some of the students fly north for a month or so and they can keep going on their Italian while they're away. Contact me if there are any problems, and they can also correct their own homework. So it's going to be a good book.
Now, if I do this course, how much work am I going to have to do outside of class as well as in the class?
Yeah, good question. It would be foolish of me to say none, because I don't think you would really make a lot of progress if it was just that 1.5 hours a week. What I say to students is if you could do a minimum of 1 hour a week outside of class, the very minimum, just reading over what we've done in the session, the 1.5 hour session, reading over it, familiarising yourself with the new vocabulary, having a bit of a practice on whatever it is, days of the weeks, numbers, months of the year, whatever. To do that each week as a minimum, that would be great. You really do need, it's too long to go for a whole week and just have that hour and a half. You find things won't stick. A lot of my students, I must admit, spend quite a bit more time than that, but it's not compulsory. I mean, obviously the more time you spend, the faster the progress and the more you'll be speaking to Italians at the end of the year.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, thanks so much, Diana. I'm really interested and I just need to sign up.
Okay, look forward to seeing you, Jack.